Did you go live?
There we go.
Jesus Christ.
Well, there you go. There's the opening for our new show here on the Outlaw Nation, Spill the Tequila. What's up, everyone? I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined so happily and once again on the channel here with Winston A. Marshall, the king of swag. How are you, Winston A?
I'm good. I'm glad that our shit talking via tweets and via text has fully manifested, because we've talked about doing this for a minute.
Yes.
Extending beyond game time, and it just got we have very differing opinions on how this Caitlin Clark situation's going down. So it just evolved into, you want to just go and just yell at each other for like 90 minutes and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, because Winston and I trust his opinion so much on these things. One, because Winston is younger. Two, because Winston is blacker, so he's more in touch with the culture, what's going on in the mainstream pop culture thing. And three, because Winston is smart with his takes and he's fair. I think that's the number one thing about Winston A. Marshall, is that he's fair and he's willing to listen. He'll eviscerate, but he'll listen first. And so I thought, well, when we were having our back and forth, I've always reached out to Winston and been like, am I reading this wrong? And then Winston has always come back with either agreeing with me or showing me another point of view. And so I thought this would be a great way to do it, because I sit around driving my Lady Outlaw crazy with my opinions on things that are going on in the world. She could care less because she's got so many other things to focus on. And I thought I got to do a show with somebody to talk about this stuff, not just myself. And Winston A. has been very kind to come on and take a chance and do this show with me. I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know what it's going to look like. But we are pop culture guys and we're social media guys. And so we got things to say. And so that's how this whole thing kind of came about. And this is a super soft launch. These are just slapped together graphics and slapped together stuff. It's going to have a much more professional feel as we go along. But for right now, maybe in a week or two, it'll look a lot better. But I got to say thank you to Winston for taking a chance to to walk down this path with me, for sure.
Absolutely, man. And like, I think above all else, we both love what we do. We both love talking about this kind of stuff. And, we're both loud. Yes. So like it's one of those things that like we're gonna do it. But I would also agree. You like, what I appreciate about you is that you have a tendency to be very 10 toes down. So if you feel some way about something, you dig in. But I would say the same thing, that if someone can present you with like a legitimate argument that you can't like deny, then you're always willing to listen to that, which I think specifically why this show, I have high hopes for it, is the fact that I am of the mindset, what I've been kind of preaching about everything that's been going on in the world, from the election to the Middle East to movies to whatever, whether it be a real problem or a perceived one, we're in this weird stage where people just don't want to listen to each other anymore. It's my way or the highway, and that's it. And if you don't believe what I believe, if you don't think the way that I think, you're the enemy. And I am of the mindset that is not healthy. It is not realistic. You are not right about everything because you're human. And on top of that, if we can't even, I think the other thing that's going to be important, which is what I like about the prospect of the show, if you can't laugh about kind of the stuff that's going on too, then you really are not going to be willing to hear anything. I think you need to have that kind of, to all of our fans, whether they be white, black, whatever, you got to kind of have that Black Latino sense of like everything can be made a joke, because even when it's serious, we're making jokes so that we can actually connect with each other, so that there's like an emotional connection,
Right. We're trying to find the path forward, which is not always easy. And we're trying to figure out where we stand on these things. And let me tell you something, this show might be us starting off with certain opinions. And as we discuss this and get more and more information, and sometimes brought on by some of you all who are watching us, sending us information or sending us links to things or down certain paths, and we get a little more educated on the subject, then we are willing to change our opinions. That's what I want to make it clear. The show is us with our opinions, as educated and knowledgeable as they may be at the time they're being presented. But I think we're always going to be open to hear other points of views or get more information that might change our opinions or might reinforce our opinions or might give us pause on our opinions. And I think that's a great thing about the show. We're not coming to you 100% like, okay, we've studied every single nook and cranny of this. It's just like our thoughts on it, what we've read, what we've seen, what we feel intrinsically as who we are as human beings. And then we're discussing it and breaking it down. And I think that's going to be a fun way to approach this, to be honest with you. And I'm looking forward to doing so.
I agree. I completely agree. And I also need y'all to understand that I am fully listening and paying attention right now, but because we are kind of doing this a little off the cuff right now, I'm grabbing some assets. So I am fully engaged in the conversation. Just if you're wondering why I keep looking back and forth like this, is because I'm like, okay, screenshot, bet. Oh, okay, bet. That's all that's going on. But I'm fully here.
See what he's doing, and that's what we're doing here too. So we're going to talk about some things here going on. And look, it's a live show. And you know, on live shows, the super chats are open. The Streamlabs are open. If you feel like sending stuff in to support the show, we'd very much appreciate it. Or to say like, thanks for talking about these subjects, because no subject is off limits for us for the most part. I mean, we're like a 99.9% type show where we will talk about anything if it makes sense for us to talk about. And we will rarely not talk about a subject. We'll reserve the right to do that, of course, but I think it'll be very clear that we are open to talk about all of it and give our initial opinions or thoughts overall on a certain thing. So I hope that's going to appeal to some of you all who have been maybe looking for a place to go and like have some really honest back and forth about these things. And yeah, maybe we'll cross some lines, maybe we'll step on some toes, but the intention is to figure out where the common ground is on this stuff, or where where we can meet in the middle on some of this stuff, because the world out there right now, as Winston said, is a crazy world. I mean, it's
a dark fucking place, man.
We got Supreme
dark
Court justices hanging flags upside down. We got people being angry on the left and wanting to come after the right. It's madness right now.
I need everybody to take a damn shot of tequila and chill the fuck out. like real talk. Like I'm not saying that shit isn't real. It is.
Right.
People's lives are being turned upside down around the world and in various ways. So I'm not gonna pretend like it's not. But if you have the space to be on Twitter, if you have the space to come watch this show, if you have time to go watch WNBA games or the NBA playoffs or whatever, I need you to chill the fuck out. Just a little bit.
Because it's getting crazy out there.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. I mean, and part of laughing, of course, is being open to have your opinion like at least prodded or made fun of or poked at a little bit and not take it too personally. And so we hope that's also going to be a part of this show as well. We might even have, a mascot on the show at some points for Spill the Tequila.
Is it just going to be, we're just going to put like take the label off of Patron and just put it on like this Batman doll I got back here. He just gonna be Batman. As a matter of fact, you know what? In honor of the show, hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'm gonna go get a shot of some tequila to kick this motherfucker off. I'll be right back.
Done and done. And I will preview the subject matter or the subjects that we're going to talk about today. We're going to get into that Harrison Butker speech and talk about that and break it down and hear from all the different responses, from the NFL to Andy Reid to columnists to even to the ladies who are sponsoring Benedictine College where Butker made this speech. So a lot of people had opinions on this speech. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into the Kendrick Lamar feud. Is it finally over after the last salvo from Drake went and was like a wet fart, basically? Is it done? Who won? Like we all don't know. And also what the ramifications of it all. We're also going to talk about Caitlin Clark. That's probably going to be the big subject that we talk about here on the show, because a lot of different opinions on that. We're also going to get into that Diddy video, give our opinions on that, what the reaction to that is. We're also going to get into some fun stuff. I saw Winston tweet out something that I might put up on the show, and we'll watch about doing a dance to the worst voicemail you've ever gotten.
Woo, shit, you saw that?
I saw it on TikTok this morning. What are you talking about? I love to live on TikTok. I get an hour every morning from 7 to 8 a.m. I get an hour of TikTok, and that's it. That's my limit. I cannot go in there but more than an hour.
That's good. Way to like control yourself.
I have to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it'll burn you. So that's the thing that I'm worrying about myself.
Oh,
is
okay.
the idea of now that I know, I've talked about it plenty at this point, but like with ADHD shit, that I realize that I do have dopamine issues where like I will go play like Final Fantasy or Call of Duty, or right now it's been Dragon Ball Z Kakarot because, you know, with Toriyama passing, I'll go play that shit for 6-8 hours straight and not flinch. And like that's okay when you're 15. It's not great when you're 36.
No,
so
I know.
can't be doing that shit. And then the TikTok black hole is real. Like YouTube black hole is real, man. Like the Twitter black hole is not great because it's a lot of anger.
Yes.
So
I'm discovering that myself. Yeah. I'm trying to stay off Twitter when I'm in the bathroom. Because I tell you the truth, I have a laptop that is just for the bathroom, right? I clean it every time I use it, but it is just for the bathroom. But I will get on Twitter sometimes, and then it becomes a whole thing, and it's too much. It's too much.
So what you're telling me,
yes.
So what you're telling me is that you also have been in there long enough because you're either scrolling or you're rage tweeting, and your feet fall asleep when it's time to get up and be done.
I've had the old man kicking the ground on the right side of my foot so I don't fall walking out of the bathroom. Yes, I've absolutely had that moment.
Grab the damn counter so like I can just stand up, and I would feel like I done broke my damn leg again because I'm trying to just hold on for dear life.
The worst is banging your thigh into the table, which bangs the computer, and you're like, no! And you scream as the $2,000 piece of machinery teeters right above the porcelain floor. So yeah,
if you don't get your ass a goddamn old iPhone you don't use, or an iPad, instead of bringing in a whole motherfucking laptop to you while you're taking a shit.
I can't be typing on an iPad in the bathroom. No way. That's too much. I love this. The laptop of evil goes to the bathroom. That's right. The laptop of evil. So here's something I cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. Spill the tequila.
Hey. Yes. Good stuff. I may have a shot later myself. So this seems like the perfect time after you've had a shot at tequila for me to present to you my first entry into the possible mascot for Spill the Tequila. And there it is. It's Tiki. There's a mascot here. Pop culture takes for pop culture minds. All right, that's just something I came up with. But you know what? I'm going to put it at the bottom of our graphic there now, and we'll see what people think about it. But I've stumbled on it, and I was like, you know what? That's an awesome thing. I kind of like little Tiki hanging out with us and having some fun with us. So
what? So Tiki out here, and his mama was tequila, his daddy was horchata, and they done made Tiki. Is that what that is? Because originally. So for people don't know, we genuinely been talking about this for almost a year now. Yes. And originally the show was going to be called Spill the Horchata. So then like Spill the Tea is a very black phrase. Horchata obviously is a Latino drink.
Yes.
So like you mash them together and that's what it is. And then we kind of went to Spill the Tequila. There's apparently other people that had thought that was cute too. So we're going to kind of see if we're going to get sued. Like we'll figure it out. Again, soft launch people.
It's a very soft launch. Yeah, no, we don't want to get sued. We just want to have fun talking about stuff going on in the world of pop culture. There we go. I've adjusted it a little bit. And if you, like I said, if you want to send your Streamlabs, it's right above Winston's head there. I will adjust that address to look a little bit better. You can subscribe to our social media channels, Winston over there, me there, and tell us what you think about little Tiki over there. Subscribe to the channel as we're watching as well. And Winston A. Marshall, you have your YouTube channel, man. Where can they go subscribe to you? You're doing more things, more reactions. Please let them know where they can subscribe to your stuff.
No, same at the Swaggy Blurred. It'll probably change pretty soon here to the Winston A. Marshall channel, but for now you can just go to the Swaggy Blurred on YouTube, and some of the stuff we've talked about here I actually are going to talk about. I've actually dove into, so definitely check that out, including we're gonna circle back around to Kendrick and Drake. And we're going to talk about the state of movie theaters if we got time. So that's also another big thing. So definitely go check out my page. Please subscribe and get that popping off.
Yeah. Help my brother get as many subscribers as possible as Christian has done for me. I try to pay it forward for everybody who comes on the shows and co-hosts with me because I appreciate it madly. But But yeah, let's get it going here. Let's jump in. We're 15 minutes into the show. I can't believe we've gone 15
all
minutes
good. All good.
Let me bring up your Google Drive here of all the stuff that you've sent us, or sent me rather, and let's download some of this and put it up and see if it works. As we're gonna see if it works. But anyway, let's talk about the first subject, and I'm gonna bring up this picture. Yes, good job, PNG, nice. So for those of you who may have missed this,
what happened?
3-time Super Bowl champion kicker Harrison Butker gave a speech at Benedictine College, as you see there. You see the words there on the podium. That's where he was at, giving this speech, and he was doing it for 485 male and female graduates. Butker made the comments about women, the LGBTQ community, about Biden, about COVID, all this kind of stuff. But the big one was, of course, what he said about women. And he said this in the middle of his speech. And I'm going to quote him because a lot of people are saying, you're misquoting or you're not getting it right. He said, "I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told you. How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you're going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world." Butker went on to talk about his wife, who converted to his faith and put away her dreams of success career-wise in order to raise their children and make a happy home. Nothing wrong with that. He said she would be the first to say her life truly started when she began living her vocation. Well, he also went on to say some stuff about the LGBTQ community, claiming that, quote, that he encouraged graduates to have Catholic pride, but, quote, not the deadly sin sort of pride that has an entire month dedicated to it. Then he went in on DEI and said the world around us says that we should keep our beliefs to ourselves whenever they go against the tyranny of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So this was a number of shots that he took throughout this speech, but it's really the women side of things that has gotten the most attention and the most backlash here from numerous people because of the hypocrisy, Winston, that his mom is a physicist and was a successful physicist. And here's one last thing before we hear what you think, brother. The sponsors of Benedictine College, the Sisters of Mount Scholastica Monastery, they are the founding institution and sponsor of the college he spoke at. They said the Sisters of Mount St. Scholastica do not believe that Harrison Butker's comments in his 2024 college commencement address represent the Catholic Benedictine liberal arts college that our founders envisioned. So, Winston, a lot of people are saying, well, it's a Catholic college. She's allowed to say what he wants. But here are the sponsors of the college saying he was off base on this. So your thoughts when you saw this, your thoughts when you heard these words, and the reaction and your reaction to the backlash to these words and the support from people as well.
So what y'all are going to learn pretty straight up with how this is going is that I used to be so radical. Fuck all that shit. You know, like, and I've gotten to a very even place where my beliefs haven't shifted, but the way in which I approach things has a little bit. So let me first start off by going, I understand why Harrison Butker said this, because it's very clear that he was upset that mommy wasn't there to pick him up at the school bus, and he had to watch Powerpuff Girls all alone. And then he had to sit there and watch Mojo Jojo get his ass kicked, and he was like, I show those women, they're not going to do that to me. I say all that to say that his beliefs are his beliefs.
Absolutely.
I know I grew up in Texas. I know plenty of people that, like, across the board, that agree with what he says. I know women that specifically went to college and they didn't go to school to go get their BS. In Texas, we used to call it, they went to go get their MRS, meaning they went to go find a husband. They went to become a Mrs. That was the only reason that they went to. That's an old Southern way that they used to.
I've never heard that phrase. Wow. Okay.
Real talk. And I know girls that are some of the smart, like, I mean, they're women now, but they were some of the smartest people I had ever met. And they would end up, instead of going to what could have been Ivies, we're like, oh, no, I'm going to Bama. I'm going to this, not because they're going to go play some sport themselves, but just because of that standard tradition of that's just what they wanted to do. And again, I don't have a problem. If that's how you feel about it, it's your life. Do your thing. Now, here's where I have a problem with what Harrison said, and he can go fuck himself. Again, he has all the right in the world to believe that and to say that.
Sure.
I hear what you're saying about the being the like sponsored more by liberal companies and stuff like that, but it is traditionally a Catholic college, if that's still correct, right?
Yes, it is a Catholic college. Yes, 100%.
If you listen to the whole speech after he finished that whole thing about women, there were a number of women clapping and cheering in the audience.
100%.
So that's another thing to keep in mind. There were plenty of women that said, yo, fuck him for that speech.
Right.
Where I got really upset that he had the gall to say something like that to the women was not only to say it was a diabolical lie that you were told. Ain't no motherfucking lie, bro. And what, like, let's not even take it to women's ability to choose what they want. In what economy? Let me just play devil's advocate. In what economy are we out here with one motherfucking salary being okay? Unless you're the soft boy ass kicker that can fucking kick a goddamn football and shit. And so then your wife doesn't have to work. Most people I know, both people in that motherfucking house is working. So first of all, check your privilege, bitch. Second of all, to say that to women that just went $100,000 in debt and be like, you were lied to. You ain't gonna feel nothing until a baby pops out your vagina. Shut your ass the whole way up, bro. like real talk. If he had approached it, because he decided to split it up by gender and he didn't need to do this. If he had said, I know all of you out here worked super, super hard for your degrees and you're excited to start your careers, but I want you to know, as much as I've loved my career, the most important thing that I've done is be a family man. I know that my wife feels the same way, that the most important thing that she's done is be a family woman. I want you all to remember that the family is super important, and I hope that that's something that you will focus on and not just on what you plan to do. And if that means that you're going to go be the next great physicist or the next great, like musician, or you're going to be the greatest mom that ever was or the greatest stay-at-home dad that ever was, if that's where he had gone with this, then I don't think anybody would have had a problem. It's the fact that he sat there and told women it's a diabolical lie that you've been told that you need to get out here in these streets or get out of these streets and get your ass back in there and take care of my babies. That's essentially what he was saying. And again, there are people that believe that. You got to understand why people got fucking mad is because he just came out sideways and took what was what is arguably the greatest accomplishment that any of these kids had at that moment. And you told anybody that happened to be there that was gay, that having any pride in yourself was bad. You told people that, I can't believe this president believes in abortion. F that. And he told the women, hey, get your ass back home.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's a shame because he represents the Chiefs, and I saw one of these ladies who used to work for the Chiefs in the HR department rather. She went on Twitter and launched a whole tirade about, let me tell you what you're told when you become a member of the Kansas City Chiefs as a player and as an employee, that you no longer represent just your beliefs. You're representing the entire Kansas City Chiefs organization when you go out there and say the stuff that you say. Now, look, Rashee Rice, that's a separate situation. Clearly, a lot of people are upset about what happened there. I don't know where this narrative came around that people aren't being just as hard on Rashee. People were very hard about what happened there with Rashee Rice. It's not some kind of we're going after the white guy and somehow in some reverse racism world, which we'll get to later, the situation is somehow okay that we no one's going after the black guy. That's not fucking true at all. They went after Rashee. This is a guy who has come from a very privileged, wealthy upbringing with both his parents working clearly and making money. And I agree with you, Winston. This is psychology 101. Mommy wasn't there to rub his tummy as a young, sensitive, needy boy. And so he convinced a woman to marry him, change faith, and be there to take care of his kids and rub his tummy when he needs it, no matter when he comes home. And that's your right. Look, it's your right. And if a woman enters into it consensually, that is her right. There is no judgment on that. And what Winston said is correct, though. But when you tell other women who don't want to do that, that they've been told diabolical lies by society, that it's okay to not have children, that it's okay to not even believe in God, to say that it's a diabolical lie, I think that's where it becomes where you're punching down and you're counseling from a place of privilege to people who have no idea what their situations are. And I'll tell you this, I think it's great as someone who is with someone who is an independent woman, has her own job, works her own life. I appreciate that madly. There's no rush for us to get married. We may never get married, but we're never going to break up. And we don't want to have children. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just see this as happening amongst a lot of people. And I'm Catholic, by the way. I am Catholic. So honestly, I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
I believe in God and Jesus Christ. And so I believe in all of that, but I also believe in free will and freedom and let people live their life as they see fit.
Funny story. So did God. And for those that know their Bible and shit, that's the first thing God was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna make some mini-me's real quick. So go ahead, here your free will. Bam, do what you want to do. That's like, so I don't understand that, like where people have so much pushback to that. He literally gave you the free, like for those that believe in God, he gave you the free choice to do what you want, and you can decide how you want to live your life, and then whether or not what that means both here and in the afterlife. That is what it is. But like some of the other things that I just thought was just very interesting about this. So I didn't notice because I don't be rocking with Taylor like that, but my girlfriend did. That he said, I missed this part of the speech where he goes, to quote the words of my teammate's girlfriend.
Yes.
And I can't remember the exact line, but I do remember because it was explained to me very well that that's actually from a song where called Bejeweled, where essentially Taylor is talking about, as a woman, this idea that like even if you're in love, even if you're married, even if you're set in your ways, there's a point in time at which you sometimes want to go out and show the world that you can still shine, that you still that girl, that people are looking at you and saying, oh, she fine as hell. Oh, I might try and spit. Oh, she hella smart. Oh, she making that money. To have this idea that, you know, you still got it. So to use this line to essentially, you know, talk to women in a way to be like, oh, but, you know, I'm going to feel real bad when I'm at, you know, if I'm not at home and blah, 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 blah. I kind of needed not only to bastardize that line, I kind of needed not Taylor to say something, because Taylor is far above this pathetic little kicker, but man to man, teammate to teammate. I kind of needed Travis to be like, hey, bitch, her name is Taylor. You got something to say it to my motherfucking face.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he used the line "familiarity breeds contempt," which is a well-known line.
Familiarity breeds contempt. That's the line.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, and Tyler didn't. I mean, Taylor didn't come up with the line, obviously, but she used it, and he quoted her using the line in the song. So it wasn't like he used the line and people said, "Oh, he's using Taylor Swift's." Like, no, he said it in the speech that this is my teammate's girlfriend. So he invoked Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift is a childless, unmarried superstar and feminist figure who, by her own definition as a person, is against everything Harrison Butker said was a diabolical lie from society. Now, it doesn't mean she doesn't want to get married and have kids someday and whatever, but she's very clear that she's her own woman, very strong, independent woman, and she's not going to stop singing to be married to Kelsey and have kids. That is a woman who is much more successful than her man. And don't even get me started on that, because that might also be an element of this, is that Harrison couldn't handle being in a situation where the woman was making more money than him. Maybe he saw how his father couldn't deal, and I'm guessing, I'm not accusing, I'm guessing, couldn't deal with his mom becoming the more successful person in the household and the person with more renown, because she's a physicist. You know how hard it is to be a renowned physicist? That is super fucking hard, and you work a lot of years to be in that position to do that. So I wonder, there's a lot of psychological shit going on here with Butker.
So two other quick things. I mean, one, you could tell that this man is clearly sensitive. Nobody puts that much hair gel in their hair if they don't like get their shit together. I know you have some, but not. Did you see his hair?
Yeah, his was
like, that's the first thing.
Yeah, that's quite a beard.
Jesus,
if you know what I mean.
My guy is out here in these streets thinking, he's out here in these streets thinking that he's about to go to the Jersey Shore. What the fuck? But I just
tell the situation.
Seriously, tell the situation. Said hi. But I say all that to say, man, like, look, I think the one thing that people keep taking out of context, because what a lot of conservatives love to throw around,
right,
about feminism in particular, the point of feminism above all else is that women should be able to do any and everything that they want to do, in the same way that men have the right to be able to do that as well. So that being said, there are times that I have pushed back on people that are big, that are like self-proclaimed huge feminists themselves, when they get mad at women that decide they want to be homemakers. That is part of what you're fighting for, is that if that's what Susie wants to do and be a homemaker, she can do that. But if Susie wants to go be president, she can do that too. Like, it's that the point of it is that all options are before you. You are not then just assigned to go do something.
Yes. Yeah. I kind of love this comment here from Kulsrak. Following the Dan Le Batard and Stan Van Gundy approach, definitely not picking him up when Hopkins has a bye week. There you go. A little the fantasy football. I doubt he'll be available in your squad, in your team there to be picked up. But yeah, I mean, but you got to look at, and let's move on to these responses here. I got to ask you about this, Winston, because the NFL's response was Harrison Butker gave a speech in his personal capacity. His views are not those of the NFL as an organization. The NFL is steadfast in our commitment to inclusion, which only makes our league stronger. Roger Goodell added on to this and said, we have over 3,000 players. They have a diversity of opinions and thoughts, just like America does. I think that's something that we treasure, and that's part of ultimately what makes us as a society better. Where were these fucking words when owners were colluding, and it has been proven that they were colluding to keep Colin Kaepernick out of the NFL? Where was this embracing of diverse opinions when a black man got on his knee to protest police brutality? No, he wasn't insulting veterans. As a man who served in the military for 8 years, never once thought that. People fabricated that in their fucking heads. And all the black players and white players who got on one knee to support, and everybody of color who got on one knee to support the stance that they were taking, were essentially railroaded by their owners and threatened by their owners. Where was Goodell to say, hey, diversity of opinions, respect their points of views? No, this is because it's a white man spouting red state Catholic opinions that he is defending it now and trying to smooth it over, because they're trying to bring women back. The Taylor Swift thing was massive for them in bringing women into the NFL. I don't know if you saw that, Winston, but they have scheduled things around Taylor's concert schedule.
Well,
for
but that's
the
also,
NFL.
but that's the part of that. Keep in mind, it has nothing to do with her going to Chiefs games. It's because her concert supersedes their ability to be in those stadiums, which sounds weird, but let's be honest. Her shows bring in way more money than an individual NFL game. The only thing that would not happen is that, like, if all of a sudden they had to like move one of Taylor's shows, and let's say the Super Bowl was about to be at the Superdome next year. They're not moving the Super Bowl for Taylor's concert, because the Super Bowl obviously brings in significantly more money. But we gotta, at that particular point, let's just call a spade here, that her concert numbers have been there for a while. So that's part of building a schedule, is going, well, we can't do the home game that day because of blah. So that being said,
your thoughts on
this
these?
Right, because I will tell you, the immediate radical Black Lives Matter, fuck the man, jumps in and says the same thing of like, this is bullshit. How dare you just, it's his thoughts, and then again throw Kaepernick under the bus. Right. Now, again, this kind of more level-headed thing that I'm talking about, the one thing that I will take note, remember, the speech was given at a college commencement, so he's technically off the clock. Versus when Kaepernick was doing what he was doing, which again, I agree was not offensive, especially knowing that he talked to active military members about that and whatnot, including a former military member that was a football player, to make sure that what he did was respectful. It technically was on the clock. He was in uniform. It was the national anthem is a part of the game, unfortunately. So you all of that being said, he technically was on the clock when it happened. So them deciding to do whatever, it doesn't look good, because knowing that it's black people just saying, "Ayo, like, stop killing us by the cops." Why are you taking so much like anger from us saying that, and not actually listening? That is a problem, and I don't like that the NFL did not do what they needed to do right by Kaepernick. But I just want that small distinction there, not a direct one-for-one. And so that's the only thing that I think needs to be said about that, is that, again, it wasn't Kaepernick in his off time, like starting full protests or something, or giving his own speech at a college and saying that. Those are two very different things.
Fair. But if Butker had gone on to the speech and said, you know what, fuck black people, he'd have been out of there'd have been a massive response to this from teammates. And by the way, going in on diversity when your quarterback is black, like, and your teammates are black. This is an interest, and you can argue, oh, well, in the NFL, you earn your blah, blah, blah. Who knows? Not every single person or position player got it necessarily because they earned it. You can't equivocally say that. It can be because one coach just favors a certain player for any number of reasons. And we've heard former players say that they felt they were being, they had bias against them in trying to make a roster in times past. So, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that the black quarterback was considered a no-go for a number of teams. And now we've got a great shit ton of black quarterbacks who are fantastic, including in the recent draft, new ones coming in. So this idea that, you know, somehow he wasn't taking a shot at diversity in the NFL is nonsense.
Oh, I'm not saying that
it's diversity. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. And I'm not saying that he wasn't, but again, we're talking about off the clock. That's the thing. And the fact that he said things that were offensive to people, myself included, but he didn't use any of what we consider the absolute no-nos. So he didn't drop the N-word. He didn't, he wasn't calling, hey, excuse me right now, y'all. He didn't go, hey, you bitches, get your ass in the kitchen because that's what Jesus wanted. He didn't say that either. He used pretty poetic language to say what he needed to say. And so all of that combined is definitely a situation of like, okay, it's not great, but okay. So like, again, that's just the other thing of kind of what's happening. And that's what I need us to do, because to be honest with you, this is on the lower end of actual problems in the world.
Okay.
I need people to look at this type of shit with a level head. Okay. People are not doing that. They hear the thing that they want to hear, whether it's something that affirms what they want or something that pisses them off. And it's not necessarily our fault. We've been fed this algorithm, and the mainstream media has been doing the same shit that we have been trained to instantly see red or instantly go, see, I told you. So all that being said, it doesn't mean there aren't things to be upset about with him, but just keep it in context and pay attention to don't half truth this. Give me the full fucking story. No more sound bites, no more headline clips. I appreciate that. I'm saying
I like to put things in context. So I like what
and people don't. And people
I know.
And that's a problem.
Because they have motives, because they have agendas. Yes, I agree with you 100%. I try to think that I don't have an agenda. I believe what I believe. That's different. I'm not trying to manipulate you or anybody listening or following or watching to believe a certain way. I'm only spouting what I think, right? And I'm not trying to say, you need to change your opinion. I don't think I ever say that. I only just say what I think.
Absolutely.
And people can interpret it as they feel, and so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I would say to you, Winston, I would push back a little bit on what you said. You're like, there's least important things. I think women might disagree with you and say this is a symptom of what we're seeing, the rise in hatred of men towards women. And when a 3-time Super Bowl champion uses a platform to denigrate women who would dare to not need men anymore in their lives and not need to make man a focus and children a focus or marriage a focus or even believing in God a focus, you've seen these conservative men lose their fucking minds about it and get upset and send the most vitriolic messages to these women. Somebody on TikTok, right? She posted a video about herself happily living her life without children, and people went after her and in thousands and thousands of responses. So what he represents is this kind of low-key hatred of women that is bubbling to the surface amongst a lot of men, especially Catholic religious men, who have this thing where they don't like a woman to be essentially stepping out of place. And so women sense that in our society as a danger. So I see what you're saying, but I think for women listening to this, it's a representative of a bigger issue that's going on.
But to that point, doctors are not supposed to be treating symptoms. They're supposed to be treating the sickness. So, for example, on top of that, this is a more minor of a symptom. It's a college graduation speech that, yes, we all know, and I'm sure he knew. So let's not pretend that it was like, well, it was always going to be private. It was always going to go online because that's what all of them do, and especially in the day and age that we're in, all of them do. But I say all that to say, while yes, this sucks, and it is kind of pointing to stuff, I would argue that like some of the shit that Andrew Tate says on the regular to how many different young men is a lot worse. I would argue Roe being overturned and now this whole assault on women and their health rights is more of a concern. I'm not saying that you don't need to deal with what's going on here. I'm just saying that like in the grand scheme, him giving his batshit like backwoods, like old school Catholic opinion about what he thinks women should be doing and what gay people should be doing and what black people should be doing and all that is not nearly as important as literally making sure that women are protected to have the health rights that they need and making sure that that's taken. You know what I'm saying? It's
100%.
We get a lot of this stuff that ends up being a temporary distraction. And instead of us actually attacking the problem, we just yell at this one person that happened to be the mouthpiece right now, and then we keep it pushing. And that's what I just want us to focus on. If you want to use this as an argument to be like, and this is another example of where women are under attack, and now let's keep talking about this, great. But if you want to pretend like Harrison Butker is the worst thing that ever happened to women, that's not even remotely close. And he didn't come up with these ideas by himself. He was fed them.
Yes, right, exactly. And he bought them hook, line, and sinker, and used the platform to espouse them. But you're absolutely right. He is not the worst offender of this kind of stuff. So yes, you're 100% correct. He is a soldier in the army, and it's the general of that army or the generals of that army that need to be getting called out on the regular more and more. I agree. It's both of us who are, with very strong, independent women who are living their own lives. We understand that, respect that, and there's something really positive about that to have in your life. And for those who want to have the situation like Butker has, there is no judgment. As long as you're both in agreement and it's consensual and you want to have this kind of relationship, there is no judgment. I just think religious people have fabricated this narrative that they're being persecuted because for once their beliefs aren't just 100% accepted by the pop culture mainstream anymore, that they're being questioned. And there's nothing wrong with that. They're not saying you can't be religious, you can't be Catholic, you can't worship as you see fit. What we're saying is don't come after people who don't, right? At least I'm not saying that. I don't know if there are people.
I feel you. You know the funniest thing in the world, though, and I wish I had pulled the clips. Do you remember when LeBron was around the Kaepernick era, was like, yeah, black people are getting attacked by the police and over-policed and killed and all that kind of stuff, right? And then, and then you had everybody on Fox News, hey, LeBron, shut up and dribble, bitch. I'm not here to listen to you talk about things. I want to see you dunk the ball. But then the minute people were like, hey, fuck this Butker guy. They're trying to shut up a white man, an athlete who's just speaking his mind. No. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's always the shifting sands of hypocrisy, man. It's always that part of it when you're looking at it, for sure. And that's what's so frustrating. And that's the thing we're talking about here on the show, is that we can't find the middle ground. We can't find the common understanding of a situation. And because people are so entrenched in one side or the other, that their beliefs are 100% correct and we will not see the other side. And that's how we're going to get lost in a quagmire of shit and head to a second civil war, I believe, in my opinion.
So Rocha, I'm for the lack of a better nickname, because I know you call your Lady Outlaw. We'll just say Lady Swag. Lady Swag just one told me that I did a very good job of explaining Bejeweled, so I'm gonna give a thumbs up for that. But two, she just sent me a tweet that someone sent. And god damn, this is spot on. And the quote says, I just heard someone say, unfortunately, some people were not put here to evolve. They're here to remind you what it looks like if you don't. And it makes so much sense. Holy shit.
I love that.
That's a great fucking quote.
That is a fantastic quote. Wow. I mean, sometimes we have to be reminded that there are people who remind us why we have to stay ever vigilant on certain things. Yeah, that's a great point. Fantastic grab there by Lady Swag there, for sure. All right, so we've talked this topic. I think, I was going to throw in the Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, but that's standard NFL stuff, circling the wagons and whatever. And both of them have their ladies to deal with and how they responded to this kind of stuff. So, but I will say, Andy Reid saying that no woman in the Chiefs organization has come up to complain about Butker's, that is such a nonsense statement, because what woman who is underneath Andy Reid in terms of the hierarchy is going to go and risk her job to tell Andy Reid that she's got a problem with Butker's speech? And Andy Reid isn't the most, regardless of what you see in those State Farm commercials, we've seen Andy Reid get hot. He ain't the most affable guy necessarily. So,
well, you were the one that was saying, you were the one out here saying in these streets that Travis Kelce was about to kill that man. Do you remember that in the last game time? Andy Reid was fighting for his life. Okay. Somebody asked for the quote again. The quote is, unfortunately, some people were not put here to evolve. They are here to remind you what it looks like if you don't.
Yeah. Love that.
Great quote. So yeah, I think that we have definitely talked this topic to death, so we can definitely keep it pushing.
Okay, let's move on to our next topic here. Winston, I got so much shit for daring to speak about the Drake versus Kendrick Lamar feud on the Christian Harloff show on Monday on the Big Thing. A lot of people came after me. Thankfully, we had another gentleman come on who spoke about it from his point of view and his experience. I will say, a lot of people, yeah, exactly. A lot of people came after me for it. So what? Let it be. But I do, obviously, I heard all the tracks, did all the research, watched all the stuff, seen people break it down. But there's been nary a peep since the Drake response to the last Kendrick Lamar track. So is this, in essence, the bell being rung and this feud is over? I saw Drake on LeBron's show talking about what happened. But like really at the end of the day now, it's just sour grapes that he lost this battle. Or what do you think? Is he gearing up for another shot at Kendrick that's even harder and deeper to push him off the ledge?
If he was smart, he would just be quiet. And the big rumor that was going around is that both of them apparently had more in the chamber. Oof. They were ready to go another set of rounds, but it you had I believe it was UGM, Universal Music Group, that was like, or UMG, sorry.
Yeah.
That pulled Kendrick aside and was like, hey, you gotta stop, bro. Like, you gotta stop. You costed us a lot of money over here. Like, you gotta stop. I'm begging you, man. Be quiet. And like, truthfully, if at this particular point, unless Drake can come with legitimate receipts of the stuff he was claiming that Kendrick was beating his wife, that Kendrick's child isn't his and all that, you just got to take the L, be quiet, disappear, and maybe you can come back in a little bit.
Okay.
Or even if your career is over, that you've made a lot of money and you've broken a lot of records. So again, you'll be fine. But I think it would have not been wise to kickstorm that beehive up again. I don't think that was smart. Because here's the thing. Yeah. I could be wrong here because I don't know for a fact. But to my knowledge, this, I think, is the only diss track that has ever gone #1 on Billboard Hot 100. If somebody doesn't mind looking that up, I can look it up in a second. I'm pretty sure that's the only one that has, and it's still, to my knowledge, at #1. I don't. You're not coming up with a bop that hits harder than Trying to Strike a Chord, and it's probably A minor. Wop 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 wop. Fuck them up. Like nothing Drake could put out right now would be able to do that. So to know that the song of the summer that's playing in karaoke bars, that's playing in the club, that every time I drive down Santa Monica Boulevard, I hear wop 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 wop, like literally everywhere. Let alone that I had a goddamn reel on my Instagram go fucking viral over. I put Dick Van Dyke dancing to the step this way, step that way at 4.3 million and still going, bitch. Like, it's been dead. It's dead. I was in the gym when this track dropped, and I said, "Oh, that's it." And even though he put out the Heart Part 6, nope, that shit was dead.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Ringer did an incredible job in listing the top 91 diss tracks. Let me tell you something. As someone who loves a battle, I did not know that there were 91 diss tracks that have been put out in the history of rap. I mean, I go all the way back to LL Cool J versus Kool Moe Dee. That's how far I go back with the diss tracks. And then we got Cannabis versus LL as well with that 3-2-1 situation. Getting into things later on with Tupac and Biggie, and of course Tupac's Hit 'Em Up, I think was an incredible diss track. Then you got Jay-Z and Nas with Ether and all of that. and going forward here with the last few years, you've seen this with Kendrick and Drake, with everybody, really, Meek Mill, all these other people. Drake has a reputation and has built his reputation off winning these. This, I think, is the first L he's taken, or am I off on that, Winston?
He took that L. No. He took that L against Pusha T. Let's be really real.
Fair enough. Fair
he
enough.
took that because he had to then openly admit that he did indeed have a child and he was hiding from the world. He took a major L. But the one thing that I think, because there were definitely people that were like, oh no, all this isn't good. People don't understand that hip hop from its fucking roots has always been it's been a sport. Like it has not only been the idea of telling the story of what's going on in the streets and stuff like that, and telling tales of what we've gone through, and doing it in a beautiful, incredibly complicated way.
Yeah.
From the jump, you originally had DJs spinning off against each other, and the MCs were not the rap. They were just there to hype the DJs up, and the DJs were battling. Then all of a sudden you did get the DJ MC duos where it would be, I'm mixing for you, and then I'm hitting, I'm dropping these bars. And so when you know that that's at the root of what it is, that hip hop is a sport, that battle rapping is a huge thing that you can see. There's a reason why Wildin' Out has been on as long as it has. And Nick Cannon went and got some of the best battle rappers that were out there is because of that is at the core. That's why when you see 8 Mile, if you really want to, if you want a dramatized version essentially of what it's like that's a real thing that would happen. Yeah. So the only time that stuff like this gets out of control, in my opinion, is when it leads to death. So when you see like Tupac and Biggie and how that went.
Yeah,
that's too much. And B, and I said this in my video, please go to my channel and watch the whole thing. I'm not going to get fully into it. I did have a little bit of a problem with this beef in the sense that while I was incredibly impressed with like the lyricism at times and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Using women that are being essentially a part of a crime, like they're victims of a crime as your punchlines is not fucking cool. It is especially
young women.
Right. Yeah. It's one thing to be like Tupac, like, I fucked your wife. Like that's less kind of but it's like, I got enough swag that your girl was willing to get in bed with me. That's one thing.
Faith is in the game. Right. So not saying it's a fair game, but Faith was in the game. Faith evidence. That's
different versus like if it's true that Kendrick like abuses his wife, if it's true that Drake is a pedophile, if those are real statements.
Yeah.
The fact that instead of like, I know there's a thing about the whole snitch movement and shit like that. Instead of like seriously addressing these things, we're going to wait to use it as a punchline. That is my only problem that I found with this rap beef personally. It made me take pause because I was like, we need to start having a conversation about why are we allowing things like this to kind of go untalked about and leaving, as Malcolm X said, the most unprotected person in America is a black woman. The most disrespected person in America is a black woman. So again, to use domestic violence and potentially pedophilia as a means to win a rap battle, I don't like that at all.
Yeah. 100% agree with you, brother. And I saw some female pundits who write for these websites and magazines talking about that as well, saying that how they were uncomfortable with the fact that women were being used in this way as pawns in this war, and that if any of this stuff was true, as you said, it's even more offensive that they would use it in this way, and lauding them for doing it is kind of a mixed message that you're sending to your female fans, and it's always been a confusing situation with rap, right? Because so many of these great rappers say some pretty derogatory shit about women, and yet some of the most ardent fans of rap are women. And so it's an interesting dichotomy to investigate. Like I had a friend of mine, this white girl, she was a massive fan of rap, like beyond me, beyond anyone I know. She was such a fan. And then she would listen to these lyrics about some of these derogatory raps and likes. And I'd be like, how? And she's like, they're not talking about me. And I know where I stand in all of this. And I was like, all right, respect if that's how you feel about it. So I guess this is kind of, so you got to understand that when you go forward with this kind of stuff. So, but let me ask you this. Let me ask you this though, man, because you make a great point. Let me ask you this though. Is this perhaps the greatest mainstream, or is this the first mainstream rap battle to break through to like the levels that we've never seen before. And I say that, and I know Biggie and Tupac were pretty massive, but that, as you said, ended up in both of them getting killed, sadly. But I mean, if we've got Chet Hanks explaining to Tom Hanks what this Kendrick Lamar versus Drake rap feud was all about.
Wait. Please tell. No, I have not seen this.
This
Please
is real.
That Tom Hanks does not call his son Big Mane. What the fuck?
I think I think it is. He calls him Big Mane. So Tom reached out to Chet and asked him, hey man, what is going on with this Drake and Kendrick Lamar feud? If Tom Hanks is involved in this, we have reached the pop culture zeitgeist for rap battles, I would believe, or diss tracks, I would believe, man, because if he's got to explain it to him, and look, Chet, I think, did an excellent job of explaining this thing to Tom in the way that Tom would get it, and maybe most, shall I say, upper middle age people would get it. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, is this arguably the greatest rap battle because it went so pop culture mainstream? And as you said, a #1 track ever for the first time ever for any diss track.
Yes and no. I say yes in the sense that it's because of social media. But like to act like people didn't know about Jay-Z, and I know it was more prominent in the black and hip hop cultures, but Ether was all over the radio, you know, no Vaseline. My God, there are people that the Ice Cube diss track towards NWA. There are people that genuinely did not listen to hip hop, but knew enough about NWA at the time that no Vaseline, because there was accusations that you saw in Straight Outta Compton from their man. I can't remember his name all of a sudden because I'm tired. But their manager Paul Giamatti mentions it at one point in the movie where he flips out being like, "Oh, Ice Cube's being anti-Semitic for what he said." Like, you know what I'm saying? He completely loses it, right? So that came up in the zeitgeist and was in the news about like, was Ice Cube being anti-Semitic by saying what he said, et cetera, et cetera. So like, there are a bajillion different like rap battles and stuff like that have happened. I think the only reason that you would give this the argument that it's the biggest, because if social media existed during Ether time, if social media existed during No Vaseline, Kendrick killed it with these tracks, and Drake did really well in my opinion on push-ups. And I actually don't even hate Family Matters. I think Family Matters was well done too, but it just, you got undercut within 15 minutes with Meet the Gram. So it's just like, what do you do? If social media existed back then, they would have gotten the same kind of hype, because like some of the shit said in those was fucking crazy.
Yes.
You know?
I mean, when Tupac went after I forget who said, one of you guys have sickle cell or something, like he went after homie's actual disease.
Well, that has happened a number of times where if someone is dissing Drake, they'll diss his boy 40, who's got not cerebral palsy, he's got Parkinson's. So they'll make all sorts of like shaking shots or whatever, or like how you park that sun. I think Kendrick said that at one point. But like, look, man, just for half a second, let me just read you the first couple bars of Hit 'Em Up for those that aren't familiar.
This is such a great diss track.
First off, fuck yo bitch and the clique you claim. West Side, where we ride, come equipped with game. You claim to be a player, but I fucked your wife. We bust on bad boys, nigga, fuck for life. Plus, Puffy trying to see me, weak hearts, I rip. Biggie Smalls of Junior Mafia, some mark-ass bitches. We keep on coming while we running for your jewels, steady gunning, keep a busting on them fools. You know the rule. Like, Pac did not fuck around.
Yeah.
He didn't at all. So, like,
it's true.
I just, we've been around, bro. We've been in these streets doing this shit. So,
listen, look, Ether is great. Hit 'Em Up is my favorite, bar none. But I have a special love for second round KO. Cannabis is one at LL. I love LL. I love LL from radio days on, from that first fucking, I had that as a cassette tape, and I would listen. I bought 3 of those because I would listen until they broke over and over again, driving my parents crazy. I loved that first album from LL. But I also know LL at times has been very much me in certain situations. So I can understand why Mo D was pissed off at him and they had a beef. But Cannabis, and he got Mike Tyson to be in the music video. That's a fucking get. For I don't know how many diss tracks have music videos, let alone have Mike Tyson in there to, in essence, co-sign you going after LL Cool J. So, and some of those lines in there going after LL with some of, and it was questioning his sexuality, questioning his approach to things, questioning whether he likes to dress up as a woman. Like, there's all kinds of stuff in there that Cannabis went after LL for. So, I mean, and then LL came back and iced him as well. But like, there are some great lines. If you can handle it, there are some great lines within.
Of course. I mean, look, what I did, the only thing that I did yesterday, and I realized how much I had to censor myself to not sing it out loud, because I'm pretty sure that Kristen hasn't heard all of like Eminem's catalog, because I was a diehard Eminem fan back in the day, and I was listening to Marshall Mathers LP, and I was singing the song Marshall Mathers, and the number of times he drops the F-bomb, like not fuck, the other one that I just used to just bar for bar just go, and not because there was any hate in my heart, I was just singing the fucking song, and I had to go, I don't feel good about saying this anymore. But like, the one other thing that I thought was just brilliant on just the technical side of what happened in this rap beef, man. Drake is famously known, when his first major beef really was him and Meek Mill. That's when he really got into a rap beef, like for real, right? And he dropped Charged Up, which was a pretty damn good diss track. But the very next day, he dropped Back to Back. And exactly that same mentality of like, I'm going back to back. And that's where the famous line is God damn it! It's is that your tour, your girls' tours? Somebody will know it better than I would, but it was an incredible fucking line that all of a sudden it was like, and also calling him what, trigger fingers turned to Twitter fingers. You're getting bodied by a singing nigga. Like, it just, he had so many fucking quotables. So for him to do that then, whether that's him or him and his ghostwriters or whatever the fuck it was, and to pull off the back-to-back scenario, for then Kendrick to go, all right, little bitch, I got your ass. And he went, I'm not only going to drop one on you, and then when you put some out, I'm going to drop some like 2 seconds later. On top of that, the very next day, he dropped another one. It was absolutely crazy. And anybody that said that Drake lost to Meek Mill is out of their fucking mind. He lost to Pusha T. He lost to Kendrick. Meek Mill did not win that battle. Come on now.
No, he beat whoa. Aisha, you better stay with us. Aisha said, geez, literally 3 channels I follow are live right now on board because this conversation is so good. Aisha, I know that those other conversations aren't as good as the conversation we're having right now. You better not leave. You better stay right here. I'm asking you nicely. I'm not asking you to. Yeah, look, I love the diss tracks. I think they're great. As a fan of pro wrestling and promos, you know I love promos, Winston. And so these are in essence promos, and they're promos with all the guards off and the guardrails off. And I love that because they can go as hard as they want to do. And thanks for somebody correcting me saying, yeah, Hit 'Em Up had a music video as well. I own that music video. I have all the Tupac music videos on a DVD. So yeah, absolutely. I remember that one being a music video as well. Yeah.
I love Ether. I love Not Like Us. I love Euphoria. Euphoria had on repeat for a while. Like, there's a number. I'm realizing, I think my favorite growing up as a child, though, was actually the game 300 Bars and Running. So he took out all of 50. He took out all of G Unit, including 50 Cent.
Yep.
It just was so impressive because it was like a 15-minute song of him just obliterating them and using some of the best beats in general, but a lot of them that were involved in previous like rap beef tracks. My mind was blown, and I was like, who the fuck is the Game, and why is he now my favorite rapper? That only lasted for a little bit, but at the time I was just like, oh my God.
I told Funk Flex, when I catch the N-word Who Kid, we gonna see if he know how to DJ with bruised ribs. That's a two-liner there from the Game. And look, the Game gets a lot of credit for this one because he wasn't always the best in the rap beefs, but he was the first one to really step up to 50 Cent, where 50 Cent had been kind of icing everybody. This one was a little more of a surprising matchup. It's almost like, I don't want to say this because I don't want to get shot, but it's by people with their mouths. But like, it's kind of like an 8th seed going up against a 1 seed in tournament, and then surprising the 1 seed is a little bit like that with the Game and 50 Cent. But it worked. He got it done. So yeah, Yeah, there's a lot of great ones, and don't forget the Dr. Dre one on Eazy-E.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
That video.
I'll say this much: that I think someone said that they're now saying, and I think that's the problem, is someone is keeping bad count here. Someone tried to be like Drake's 0-3 and then said it was Common, Pusha T, and Kendrick that he lost to. Well, in that case, that would make him 1-3, not 0-3, because again, he did have the beef with Meek Mill and he definitely obliterated him. The only thing that I would say about the Common one, man, I don't even remember Common's diss track against Drake. I definitely remember Stay Scheming and that whole shit. And then he was while taking shots at Common and being like, order the filet total butterfly, she'll love it. She used to soda and nuggets. She's really just out here thugging. Like just all talking about like just bars. There was one that he had to walk back because Kobe got mad, because this is around when Kobe was about to get divorced, and the line goes, it was Kobe about to lose 150 M's. Kobe, my nigga, I hated had to be him. Bitch, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. And then Rick Ross, oh, bitch, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym, which I thought was fucking hilarious. And I used to quote that. And then all of a sudden Kobe goes, hey, take that shit down. Don't you ever talk about my wife like that again, because he sorted his shit out. So
yeah, he did. He got her a big ring. Yes, KRS-One, the bridge is over. One of the best. Yes, KRS-One.
That was a good one too.
He's a forgotten, like KRS-One and BDP. Like that is a fucking, people don't talk about KRS-One in the way that they should. I still stumble upon old music videos with KRS-One every once in a while when I'm up late at night, and I'm like, man, this shit is so fucking good. People forget how good KRS-One was, man. So yeah, and I'm surprised DMX hasn't had like a great track record or has gotten involved in a lot of beefs. Maybe people are legitimately scared of DMX and didn't want to go and start any shit with DMX. I think he only done like one or two.
He was also like, I don't think I ever put enough respect on DMX's name, and I do regret that. Yeah. But like, you did have one. You did have, remember, Corrupt did go at and on calling out names. So he went at DMX, Foxy Brown, Irv Gotti, Ja Rule, 50 Cent, Nas, AZ, and the movie Belly, apparently. but so some people took a couple shots here and there at him. But he was at the top of the game, and I think everybody just put respect on it. I think the thing that got sad is that obviously why we ended up losing him, he just got on that stuff. And then it was just, and then, and I think it's not to say that people don't take shots about being drug addicts or anything else like that. Sure. But I think there was this kind of mutual respect where everybody was like, I just want D to get some help. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, DMX didn't like Jay-Z. I forgot about that. DMX did not like Jay-Z.
Yeah, he had issues with Jay-Z for sure. And of course, when you go into a rap battle, you got to tread lightly, because R.I.P. Ja Rule, because he never recovered after that battle.
No, sure. Jeffrey Atkins never recovered. Ended up at the Fire Festival after that.
Never recovered, Ja. No matter how many Fast and Furious films, he never recovered, Ja. All right, let's move on to another story. I love how we're having this fun conversation, but we got to get into the battle. Speaking of rap battles, it's time for Winston A. Marshall and I to battle, and we're battling over this young lady here, Caitlin Clark. We've been battling over text. We've been battling over Twitter. Caitlin Clark is causing she's not causing, but Caitlin Clark's appearance in the WNBA, the way the sports media has been fawning over her, the way things are changing in the WNBA at the same time as she's coming into the WNBA with Angel Reese, with Cameron Brink, with so many other fantastic women who are playing from this draft class. It's caused a lot of tongues to be wagging here, both male and female, both sports analysts and players, male players as well. LeBron's weighed in. Former players like Charles Barkley have weighed in. Analysts have weighed in on this. Tim Legler even weighed in on Caitlin Clark and the things that she's doing. Tim Legler, of all people. And so, Winston, I became a fan of Caitlin Clark. I've been watching women's basketball since Shamik Holdsclaw took on Rebecca Lobo back in 1995, UConn versus Tennessee. I have always admired, respected, and loved women's basketball. If you guys haven't seen the Dream On 3-part documentary, the 30 for 30 ESPN did last year on the 1996 women's basketball team, you've got to watch that documentary. That is a fucking time capsule and a historical book on a time in basketball when women were finally starting to break through and get somewhat respected for the work they're doing. And that's what ended up spawning the WNBA, which is very much still in our pop culture zeitgeist and now gone possibly next level over the last few years. So what is your feeling about all of this? The reactions, the anger, the frustrations, the accusations, the calls of racism, all kinds of stuff going on here. What are your thoughts on the Caitlin Clark situation, brother?
Wow, I got to give Joseph Ashley credit. He just said Caitlin Clark is the Taylor Swift for the WNBA, and he's not. No. But that's not a diss. That is actually a very apt comparison. If we're being honest, the only difference is I don't think there was ever really a time where like Taylor was like struggling with performance. There's like you can ask like some honest Swifties, and they might tell you, hey, maybe this album wasn't as great as others. But as far as like someone being as successful as they are, but catching all sorts of hell, I think that is actually a very apt comparison. But let me tell you again, this is why I need people to stop with the half truths. I need people to do some research as well before they just spit shit out of their mouth that doesn't make sense. So if you want to know why there's a large number of Black people that are genuinely upset with like Black people do not hate Caitlin Clark. That's not a thing. There's a few. I will give you that there are a few, but like a lot of situations, it's a minority. Here is where Black people get fucking frustrated with Caitlin Clark.
Break it down.
Last year, so I'll be honest, I don't watch college sports. I'm not interested in it. I went to a D3 school.
Right? Game time, you don't watch college sports. Yes. Yeah.
I went to a D3 school. So it never, and that includes football, that includes men's basketball, women's basketball. The only time I ever start to pay attention is when we get to something serious. So I pay attention to March Madness, both men's and women's, though I honestly really started paying attention to women's March Madness in the last 2 years, if I'm being real. Yeah. But I've been a massive WNBA fan for since college because I got taken there on a trip and during a program that I was at for there. And I was like, this is awesome. And I definitely had the split feeling of like, well, one, these ladies are genuinely balling, and two, I ain't never gonna get seats this good ever. So it's its own like kind of duality, right? But I've been following WA for a long time.
Yeah.
All that being said, part of where this started, where this started and why racial lines got drawn in the sand to start it off. Yeah. Caitlin Clark is going through last year's tournament, and every time she's finishing up a game, whoever the star can't see me.
You
can't
just said, see me. Don't tell half truths. She was doing that to her trainer on the University of Iowa. She has said this numerous times. That was not to anybody who was on the court. The thing she did to South Carolina last year, where she brushed off the guard and said is not going to guard her as in the motion. That she absolutely did.
Yeah, that was also
to her trainer, not to any place.
Well, and if that's the case, then thank you for correcting me on that, because I'd never heard her actually say that, but I did see the shot heard around the world where she did it on the court, and it was after she won. So because guess what, you could have done it to your trainer after you ran over. You did it cross court with the camera on you. So whether that was who you were aiming it at.
Fair.
It's how it's presented.
That's how it's taken as well. Yeah. Fair point. Yeah.
So then the next game, she gets to the championship. LSU has clearly locked it up, and Angel Reese does it back. Classless, thug, villain, all of these things get thrown at Angel Reese for balling out, shutting down this superstar, and proving that she's one in her own right and winning a chip. And every sort of thing was said about Angel Reese at that time and going forward. And it literally became a situation of, you know, both of them being superstars. Obviously, Caitlin having the bigger star at that point because of what she had done that season. But it came off as essentially the great white hope got attacked. This white woman got attacked. And then this Black woman got attacked even harder from all of society. That is where the dynamic started. It got worse when you then had Jill Biden being like, well, both of them should come to the White House.
100%.
No, the fuck they should not, because that has never been the case. It has always been the winner gets a trip. So whether or not it was ever going to go to this place, it's because the seeds were planted to make this a racial issue.
And
then we come to this year. And this year you have a situation that while LSU was doing their thing and they're moving through the ranks, an article comes out about them versus UCLA, and it's the dirty debutantes, and these are cupcakes and everything else versus the Louisiana hot sauce in the bag. You are continuing to come at this black woman like this, who is a woman, but she's a girl. If we're just being real, Angel Reese is still she's a young lady. You know what I'm saying? She's barely past 18, and you got people talking about her all this, that, and the third. Yeah. So when you put all that together, and Angel's balling, and she's got a chip, and so is Floje, and so is Juju, and all of these other women. And then you see someone like Paige Buckers, who years previously who had won Sportswoman of the Year and took the time to, in her speech, I am honored for this award, but I really want to speak about the black women that paved the way, because I don't feel that they always get the respect that they did. To when you see that kind of stuff happening, again, these are little dog whistles that are riling up everyone one way or the other. What Paige did wasn't a dog whistle in like a bad way, but it was one of those things being like, see, that white girl gets it. Versus if Caitlin's kind of doing her thing, and then you have all those people that went after Angel. So now you've got MAGA folk, conservative folk, actual racist folk, whatever the fuck's going on now, supporting Caitlin and being like, look at her go. Now you're starting to trigger other people, because it's like, okay, but Angel's also going, she may not break the record for this, but look what she's doing. South Carolina's undefeated. Dawn Staley might actually win a third title, and none of that's getting talked about. Like, it is as big of a deal that a team went undefeated and won the chip as it is that, hey, I was an all-time college scorer. So, like, you should be talking about that team, maybe not the individuals, but that team as much as you're talking about this one person, because of what's being pulled off. And so where the divide continues to happen, people feel like you can't give up ground, because if you acknowledge anything, you're like, well, then thank you for proving my point. And that's ridiculous. Caitlin should be getting all of the accolades that she deserved, all of it. She should have been on SNL. She was going to be the #1 draft pick. That was the worst kept secret in the world. She was going to be the #1 draft pick. So it doesn't make sense to bring Angel on. It doesn't make sense to bring Cardoso on. It doesn't make sense to bring on Cameron Brink. It makes sense to bring the person that is the most famous person right now coming out of women's college basketball and is projected to be the #1 pick. That makes the most sense. But people got upset about that. Why didn't you bring on Don? Blah, 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 blah. Again. So when this half truth of like, you're just out to get, you just don't want to see a white woman shine just because, or you don't want these black women to succeed, and we're not being real about what's happening, that's where we get into these stupid conversations. And one of the ones that really bothered me above all else that kind of started it, and I know that you keep saying that you thought that this was some jealousy and hate, but it really isn't. I have the clip. I'll pull it up if you're good with me presenting it. It's literally the Diana Taurasi.
Get a strike for it. Oh, which clip are you posting? Because I have receipts as well with Taurasi.
Taurasi specifically, her talking to SVP.
Okay, yes. What she said. Do you want to just read what she said? Because we might get a strike if we play it, because it was on Sports Center. So I don't know if we can get a strike on that or not. But I can see if I can find. Here we go. I found it. Let me bring it up.
Okay.
And guys, try to ignore SVP giggling like a school kid at Taurasi's comments. Try to ignore that, because that's what he did. It was really embarrassing to see that.
That's not with anybody that's talking shit.
Have you
watched him talking about the Manning cast? Every time he talks to Peyton and Eli, that was the good. You guys should be on SNL. That was incredible. Like that happens all the time. Come on.
Fair point. And Scott did apologize, by the way, so he knew he did.
Yeah, you can play the audio. I'm pretty sure you'll be good.
What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
So he's asking Taurasi and Sue Bird, who were there covering the championship and stuff, about what these rookies can expect, and Caitlin Clark and others can expect coming into the WNBA.
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time. Not saying that it's not going to translate, because when you're great at what you do, you're just going to get better. But there is going to be a transition period where you're going to have to give yourself some grace as a rookie. And, it might take a little bit longer for some people.
Right on.
So we just finished talking about diss tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And Taurasi is the Chino princess. She's from Chino, California. It's a hard ass area, man. I've driven through Chino. It's a scary place sometimes. There's a prison out there in Chino Hills. It's real shit. Taurasi ain't no joke. Kelsey Plum talked about it. I forget what she was on the podcast with Steven Jackson, and she talks about how Taurasi welcomed her into the league when she tried to drive by her. Kelsey did, and Taurasi just threw her hip into her, knocked her on her ass to show her what the fuck is up. Taurasi is a baller, son. That woman plays. She is Argentinian by descent. She is no joke, y'all. So I understand what the genesis of the statement was, which is, hey, rookies are going to have to take a little shit. Transitioning is not going to be easy. But there are pauses, there are sniffs, and those things show you that there's a disdain for Caitlin Clark and the media's obsession with Caitlin Clark, which is ironic because the media was obsessed with Diana Taurasi when she was coming out of college, I think UConn, and then going into the WNBA, leading the Phoenix Mercury to titles. People were obsessed with her like they were obsessed with Breanna Stewart, like Sabrina Ionesco, like Candace Parker, like so many great WNBA players. There was a little bit of that gangster dismissal of this white girl from the Midwest in her comments. And I've got another track to play, but please give your thoughts on this and why you think the controversy was overblown in what she said.
So this is where we started when we were texting, and I was like, bro, I can't text with you this entire argument. Like, we either need to get on the phone or put on a show because I can't do this. And let me first ask you the question.
Yes.
What was Caitlin Clark's stats for the first night? If you don't have them, I have them pulled here.
I think it was like 9. Wait. I think it was 20 points, but 10 turnovers. And she missed a lot of shots, but she had 10 turnovers in her first rookie game in the WNBA.
What was her? What do you know? What her stat line was for the second game? Again, I have it open. If you don't have
9 points in the second game, and then the last 2 games she's gotten, I think, over 20 points.
22 for the third game, 17 for the fourth, 21
17
for the fifth.
Right.
So a couple things about that. First of all, still hasn't translated to a single win. They've been close in some of these games, but they have not. It is not.
They were a shitty team last year. So yeah.
So that's the first thing. First of all, nothing that Diana said was wrong. She said, she didn't specifically say, hey, Caitlin Clark, look here, bitch. She didn't do that. So to try and pretend like she called her out directly, she didn't. She said, we all went through it. You see it in the NBA side as well as our side. This isn't 18 to 20-year-olds. Right. These are grown women who have been doing this for the lifetime.
Yeah.
There is going to be a learning curve. And when you watch these turnovers, a lot of them are, some I would say is because of the unfortunate position that WNBA rookies get put in, where you come straight out of the tournament into barely any time, like 3 weeks from the draft before the season starts. That is very unfortunate and makes things hard for sure. But when you watch a lot of these turnovers by Caitlin, it's because she is still adjusting to the speed. Whereas before at 18,
100%.
You disagree.
I think there are quite a few turnovers that her teammates are not used to having a point guard
all of them
throw the ball in positions that they have never experienced getting the ball. So I would say I think it's evenly split, in my opinion, the turnovers.
But see, the only reason why I'm trying to pull some actual game receipts super quickly. But what I'm saying about that is specifically the idea of, I've watched every one of them. Yes, there are plenty where her teammates maybe aren't ready for it because they're like, oh shit, she can zip that. And that's definitely a thing. But there are plenty where she thought, I can thread that needle. And she can't because you are, again, dealing with grown women that they're not doing like, if I don't know how to I guess, describe agility. But like, let's say you got the 40-yard dash. If it's like, oh, this person, everybody in college is running a 4.40, but then when you get to the NFL, it's like everybody in the NFL is doing like a 4.240. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because these are the most elite athletes at this sport playing it. And because there's only 144 slots, because the league is still growing, you're only getting the best of the best that are making it into the league. So your threading of the needle stuff, like it's going to take time. It is going to take time. And so everything that Diana said, I would expect a competitor. You can go and find old tapes of Kobe saying this about people already shit talking LeBron, being like, okay, King James. Now, mind you, LeBron from the start went off, and that honestly is a little bit, but that is what we would expect competitors to do. And because of that, I actually want to play instead of getting the turnover stuff, because I can't find it. There was an incredible thing that we were actually talking about by oh my god, what's her name? I already forgot. I'm so sorry.
You talking about Elle Duncan?
Yes, about Elle Duncan.
Okay, but before we move on, I don't want to move off of Taurasi, because I want to offer my counter to what because you picked the safest one.
So if she has another one, please.
She does. And I'm going to play it for you. It was during the game. She was asked by Sue Bird who she would take first in the upcoming WNBA draft.
Sure.
And here's what she had to say. UConn alum, Diana Taurasi.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm taking Paige. Next question.
Next question.
So you get the number one pick this year. You would take Paige over Caitlin.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I like that energy.
Sniff, sniff, drink, drink. Absolutely diss. That's exactly the distaste and disgust that someone has for another player. Taurasi showed all her cards when she reacted that way, in my opinion. You don't go, next question, unless you are done with that person that is being talked about. Subert even gave her a chance to expound on why she would take Paige Buchers, who Caitlin Clark beat, by the way, in the semifinal, in the Final Four. Why she
not
would take
at the time. You see, and now that's what I'm talking about. Half truths. No. Play it again. 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 I want you to play it again. I want you to play it again because you're not paying attention. Look at what they're watching. Look at what the time frame is. It was literally happening in the middle of that game.
This is a month and a half ago. This is a month and a half ago during their game, Iowa versus UConn. Paige
exactly. So to say after Caitlin beat Paige, no, they're in the middle of playing.
Oh, fine. But
that's either way, that's a huge difference.
Okay. But either way, you've seen enough of Caitlin Clark versus Paige Buchers, and you go Paige Buchers over Caitlin Clark, and then go next question and take a sip. You know, Winston, you know what the sip means right after you answer something. That is a diss to the person you are talking about. Look,
I'm taking Paige. Next question.
She's sipping the tea. That's what she's doing. You know she's sipping the tea against Caitlin Clark in this reaction. And then Bird after again to clarify this. And she says, absolutely, I still take Paige. No hesitation. No defense of Caitlin Clark or either way. And that to me shows a disgust for Caitlin Clark that I think isn't merited. You know, Caitlin Clark has come out and spoken about all the players that have influenced her. She did it on SNL. She gave love to a lot of black players. She says Maya Moore is her idol. That's a black player. So she has been very clear in her love for the players, both black and white and otherwise, in the WNBA over the years. And I don't understand why there's this hatred of Caitlin, but I think what you might have unlocked it for me. And as we said at the beginning of the show, sometimes our discussions will open different points of views. When you compare her to King James, I think that's actually a very good comparison because I remember when LeBron came out of high school right into college, the vets were salivating to knock LeBron on his ass to teach the kid a lesson. Because I tell you this, when you grow into a grown man or a grown woman's game, it don't matter how old you are or what the age is on your birth certificate. Once you're officially in the league, there is no fucking kid gloves. There's no soft ass responses. People are coming to knock you down and see how much you can take. And certainly Caitlin has been knocked down a few times. We saw it in the Seattle game last night. Twice she was knocked in the head pretty hard. So it's going to happen. But I do think this is dangerous rhetoric for her if black female players are being instigated to commit violence against Caitlyn because of all the publicity around her.
That is instigating violence.
Play fair. So I'm just saying the shot that she took, I bring it up, the shot that she took is kind of a dangerous shot. And that's what I get worried about.
What shot are we talking about? Because unless there's something there might be something I missed. I will say I stand corrected. The only Caitlyn game I've missed in the WNBA was last night's.
The Seattle one.
Something happened. Did something happen last night that I don't know about?
Yeah, let's take a look here. Let me bring it up.
Because I have
let's go to the video.
Everything that you said. I have plenty of stuff that I can reply to be honest with you.
All right, let's take a look at this shot here.
You're talking about this. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know this.
Wham! Look at that. Is absolutely look. She's not even going for the ball. Let's not delude ourselves. She was absolutely
she's looking right at the ball and hit the ball, and she went through. Now here was the question: Did the ref? Yes. What?
The ball hit the bottom of the backboard.
Okay.
The ball hits the bottom right there. She comes in and essentially does a hatchet job.
So did she get a flagrant for that?
No, not even a foul, Winston. Not even a foul.
I mean, again, from watching it in that speed, that didn't look honestly, it didn't. I would say it is enough of a dangerous that I would not have been surprised if a ref had called a flagrant on. And that to me would be the first example, because what people were using for a minute was the first pick she ran into that her teammates did not call it.
Yeah.
You're just gonna turn her up. No, that was a legal pick that she ran straight into. Yeah. She ran straight into Breanna Stewart and ate shit. And it happened 2 other times where clearly what's happening is her teammates are not warning her. Right. I played basketball only in high school. That's where I stopped. Yeah. And the number one thing you're supposed to do for your defender, if they can't see, hey, screen, you're supposed to call it so they don't get hurt. So like,
you're right.
The number of people that were saying stupid shit, being like, they're trying to hurt her because they're just, shut the fuck up. That is nonsense. That is absolute nonsense. If you want to talk about this one, that one I'm more willing to give up and be like,
that's the only one I'm talking about.
I thought that looked like she was more going after ball, but she swung really hard and took her out in the process, in which case, if you want to call a flagrant, I would let that go. I would say, sure, yeah, the flagrant makes sense. But as far as would you rather take Caitlyn or Paige? First of all, do you know who Paige was before that injury, bro?
Yes, I know she was one of the top basketball players in the college ranks before the injury.
She was Caitlin Clark before Caitlin Clark was Caitlin Clark. It's the first thing. Second of all, did you watch the game where, like, let me ask you this question.
I did. Would you at the end? Yes, I did.
Would you rather, if you were drafting a team right now?
Yeah.
Would you rather have a young LeBron James coming in or a young Steph Curry? I don't think there's a wrong answer to this, to be honest with you, but
LeBron, next question.
There you go. And that's because, and the funny thing is, Paige isn't big like LeBron, but the way she can kind of make herself score at will. And it's not that Caitlyn can't, it's just that Caitlyn plays very Steph-like. So she's hitting the logo shit. She's like, she can drive the lane and do what she needs to do. She throws those dimes and whatnot. But just like that, even though you would make the argument that maybe Steph was actually more influential on the current game, but LeBron was definitely the face of and it is the only one that's being compared to Michael Jordan at this present time.
Yeah, true. Very true.
You see, it's one or the other. And to that point, if you're seeing a Paige that plays incredible defense, Caitlyn plays pretty good defense. Paige plays incredible defense.
I would argue that she does, that Clark plays, how can I say, the minimal amount of defense that you need to play to be in the WNBA. I'd say you're overstating. She is not as strong on defense as she needs to be. I will absolutely concede that situation.
And so when you consider things like that, I understand you're again talking to a player that is genuinely talking about, because she said, who are you taking in the draft? that is probably being filtered through, okay, who would I want on the team and stuff like that. You would want someone, a lot of players will say that, especially a Diana who ends up being the type of person that I want the ball in my hands to go score. You want a player that, like, can go and get the buckets if you need them, but they're going to be like just where her head's at and like that's where that is going, period. So I'm saying all that to say, man, I understand where people maybe might think that, but I would expect you would never, if this was flipped, if this was Peyton and Eli and they're watching, they're watching the college championship or that just happened and whatnot, who are you drafting? Michael Penix, next question. If obviously, if there's something that Eli or Peyton saw, and like you wouldn't be like, oh, you were so disrespectful to that other young man on the other team. That's crazy. What? I can't believe you. Why would you?
You have to do it in the white voice.
Why would you? I'm sorry if you showing you showing that you showing that you don't want a tortilla, but you want some Wonder Bread, bitch. I'm gonna call it like I see it.
No,
all right.
I know what she's. I know what she's doing. I'm giving her respect as the gangster that she is. The simp is a diss, and that's all I'm saying.
So here's the last.
She defaulted to her woman who plays on her former college team. So I understand. It's just the disrespect to it. You can tell that that's bubbling under the surface, I think, for a lot of WNBA players. Even Asia Wilson came out in the LA Times and said how she felt Caitlyn was getting undue attention for the situation. She ended up getting her shoe. She got her shoe.
Because it was apparently already underway. But there's an understandable when you look at the lens of how this was playing out. It's like, because again, I'm not coming at you directly, but the number of people that I saw that got so mad about, like, well, of course Caitlyn is, or who the fuck is an Asia Wilson? / at the same time, Asia, like, people being upset that Asia didn't get it.
Yeah.
The full story is, like, I believe, Nagy could have been lying, but I believe them when they say that they were already working on it and they were waiting, because again, Asia just coming off of finals MVP, back-to-back titles, arguably the best player in the world. Even though Brianna won the MVP, people were really more on Asia like that. All that being said, the lens in which it was presented was the only 3 women that had gotten shoe deals before Caitlin Clark were all white women. And then immediately before Caitlin had played single game for the WNBA, got a $28 million deal. And yet the best player in the world did not. So all of that is just the optics of it. And that is part of what I need people to understand, including you had a situation where they had been working on getting these charter flights going. But the minute you saw one game where Caitlyn happened to be out there and there were a bunch of people kind of swarming and they were like, well, we don't need her out in the public like this. So then the WNBA rushes their announcement to do the charters. And then all of a sudden it was like, but the only person that has flown in those charter flights so far have been the Fever, but everybody else on the bus. Like there is something about that too. But at the same time, then someone tried to be like, well, you should be grateful because there were never no charter before. There was literally the owner of the New York Liberty had just gotten fined last year because he was like, I got a private plane. I don't want my ladies having to take the motherfucking bus or be on these public planes. Right. I'm gonna fly you. And then he got fined for it. So it's, again, people are using selective arguments. They are not talking about the full fucking picture. And that's where we end up in this knockout, drag out argument of people yelling at each other because we're not talking about the whole thing. So now can we go to Ella Duncan, because I thought she did a really great job.
No, because you're not telling the full truth here in this situation.
What did I miss?
But I did say Winston is 100% correct. This charter flight stuff has been talked about since 2020 in the last collective bargaining agreement with the WNBA. There were people who were upset about this coming into fruition because they felt that it would give advantage to certain teams, maybe who have less time to travel amongst their teams they're playing to the certain cities. Also, this was also deemed too expensive at the time during the collective bargaining agreement. But now, with the influx of money and the rate, and let's be real, I think Caitlin Clark is also a victim of timing. In that, I mean, when I did something on this I think I tweeted something about this a couple of weeks ago. But women's sports is on the rise all over the world.
It is.
Whether these pig-headed, incel, sexist, misogynistic fucks want to admit it or not, women's sports is exploding all over the map. women's soccer, women's Olympics, women's rugby. We just had 28,000 people show up for a women's rugby match in Australia. We had over almost 90,000 people showing up for a female Barcelona soccer team. And so this is huge. And the WNBA and women's college basketball have seen meteoric rises over the last 3 years in the drafts watching, in the watching of the games, in attendance to the games. All of it has been building.
It's been
Caitlin
going. And
Clark pushed her. The attention for Caitlin Clark is what pushed everything over the line. And that's
what it
where
is?
she's getting the attention and the response and the respect and what have you. But I can see, if you look at everything in context, how it feels like she's getting too much of the credit when all these other people had laid the groundwork and had been pushing for it for quite some time. So I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
And part of where that comes from is, and this is again the problem,
Yeah.
I want more people to watch. That is super
100%.
important.
So do they.
However, what's happening is you're getting these casuals that know nothing about what's going on, and they're talking out of their ass. So the hate is not coming for Caitlin directly. It's coming for these people that have put her on this weird pedestal. And my proof of that, my proof of some of that going on, because I'm not going to pull every fucking tweet. Are you aware of the fact that she is actually, let's see here. Hold on. Let me make sure I have the right one here.
Who
that
is
Caitlin, that Caitlin has the third shortest odds to win MVP, because that many people have been betting that she would win MVP her rookie fucking season. That has happened one time in the history of the WNBA. I believe maybe even the NBA. I don't know if a rookie has ever won.
I think Moses Malone won as a rookie.
He won Rookie of the Year and MVP.
I think so. But go ahead, man.
So I say all that to say that number one is Asia Wilson. Number at plus 120. Number two is Breanna Stewart at plus 550, the reigning MVP. And number three is Caitlin at plus 1,000. She hadn't even been fucking drafted. Hadn't even been drafted. And they out here be like, yeah, she about to school all these bitches. And that's the problem. That is what a lot. I'm not saying you, because I know respect sports enough, respect women's sports, actually give a shit. And there's people that I know that feel that way too. But the problem is, whether it's the algorithm, whether it's bots, or whether it's the actual fact that all these casuals want to make a fucking statement here, they're saying things that they don't know anything about. And I don't blame both people that are fans of this game, let alone these players, for being frustrated about people that don't know. You walked into my city and now all of a sudden you want to tell me how to fucking, you walked into my house and you want to tell me, no, I'm not taking my shoes off. I'm gonna wear my shoes where I fucking want. And by the way, I brought my superstar. If she wants to sleep in your bed, bitch, she's gonna fucking do it. Now, I may feel, you know what, as someone that is hosting here, you need someone to sleep, by all means, take my bed. You have more than earned. That's one thing. But you're getting people that are speaking for Caitlin and that are sitting here talking about this is what it needs to be and this is what it is, when you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And that is why so many people are getting so angry. They're not mad at Caitlin. They're mad at the people that decided they're going to cape for her. She doesn't need Superman. She is Superwoman.
But I also think people who feel like you feel about this are giving air to these people who are not serious fans. And so I understand the frustration, but I think there's such a small minority of the new fans who are coming in, because the new fans have been coming in, as I just said, exponentially over the last few years, not just with Caitlin Clark, but with other female ball players as well. And as the competition, hey, look, there have been a lot of great players, obviously, in the WNBA for years, for decades, right? But there's a new breadth of competition. This is just timing. And so all these people are involved and are watching the WNBA. I think a majority of people are watching because they're legitimately interested in the talented women who play the game. Are there a minority of people who are like on Caitlin's side and using it for their own personal shit? Yes, 100%. But I think by you all addressing it like this, it gives it too much life. But I think we should now play the L situation, because I think you're absolutely right.
So yes, I just wanted to give you an example before you play that of somebody. So again, this is one person, so this is an anecdote, but I've seen enough of it. I just started trying to keep track of it.
Sure.
there was a post done by hold on, it's reloading here. By iTalkHoops, and it says what the women of the WNBA are some of the most hardworking and talented athletes of the world. They spend countless hours training, strategizing, playing, all events being personalized, etc., etc., etc. Recently, a troubling narrative has emerged that WNBA players are hating on Caitlin Clark. This claim lacks any context or evidence. To date, no NBA player has publicly taunted Clark. No player has had any negativity acknowledged towards her. There have been no conflicting reports about Clark and her opponents behind the scenes. There are no known locker room issues involving Clark. WNBA players are often asked about her, and time again, they give the sensational star praise that is due. So where is this baseless claim coming? The media plays a significant role. You're seeing, and including, pointing out that charter flights are increased viewership. It undermines the players' own contributions and saying that was only Caitlin that did that. This narrative not only disrespects the hard work of the WNBA players, but it also fuels the unnecessary division and conflict. So this keeps going for a while, and they kind of talk about this. And I saw this random dude decide to go, well, it would help if players like I have proof they're out here actually saying it. When you have Asia Wilson and Jamel Hill, like active players out here saying that, it's because they're race. And someone goes, see, this is how I know you're talking out of your fucking ass. Jamel Hill is a journalist.
It's a journalist.
She has been for a very long time. So that's what I'm saying. People are literally coming out the woodwork to come and defend Caitlin, who has said she doesn't need to. She's like, I just want a ball. I love the women that pave this way. I just want a ball. And these people want to cape for her. Stop it. Let her go. Now please play Ella Duncan now that we have put this off for God knows how long.
Just want to clarify. WNBA Rookie of the Year and MVP, Candace Parker. Only woman to ever do it in the WNBA. And in the NBA, it was Wes Unseld and Wilt Chamberlain. So we have not seen it since 1969, Winston. Since the 1968-69 season that has happened in the NBA. And Candace Parker, I think it was 2005. I can't remember what year it was. But it was a while ago. Let's just say that.
2006.
Yeah, 2006. So it's been a bit. So let's play the Elle Duncan thing. I have it. Let's hear from her.
Yeah.
I love Elle. She's so good. On ESPN, has the show. She's been anchoring the WNBA coverage and the NCAA tournament coverage recently here. So let's hear from Elle on her thoughts on this.
This is only women that get this. I'm tired of it. Like, here's my thing, you guys. What else? Who are these girls? Who are these girls that are hating on Caitlin Clark? Are you just combing through Twitter? What else are these women supposed to do?
And let's clarify. Elle is talking about she's responding to Charles Barkley last night, calling out the women in the WNBA. And I was going to say, and LeBron calling out the women in the WNBA. And they weren't the only ones. Gilbert Arenas, Shannon Sharp, calling out the women in the WNBA, claiming that they've got an agenda against Caitlin Clark and they should be grateful for what she's done for them. And Elle is responding to that, just to give you context.
Ooh, fawn over her, fangirl over her, been supposed to do. These women supposed What else are these women supposed to do? Fawn over her, fangirl over her, bend the fucking knee, kiss the ring. Like, what do you want from them? We cannot, every time the girl plays a game, she got 40 games, guys. She got 35 more games. We are not every single game going to revisit and retread this same tired ass rhetoric that all these girls are hating on her, and they need to be thankful. They have been. Sure. They've said it time and time and time again. You want the girl every single time she walks out onto the court? What are we supposed to do? You want them all to give Caitlin their firstborn? Like, what are you looking for? It is embarrassing because if this was the men and you just watched a bunch of other dudes fawn over someone all the time, you'd call them weak. That would be a soft move. Where's your competition? Where's the animus that used to be in the NBA when they really hated each other? Now they're all friends. It's so boring. We hate it. With women, you want them to do what?
Okay. That was Elle Duncan's 1 minute and 20 second point of view on the situation. I think a lot of what Elle says is true. I think at the end, she kind of maybe isn't 100% accurate on that because people kiss LeBron's ass, people kiss Michael Jordan's ass, people kiss Magic's ass, People kiss Larry's ass.
Wait. I'm not gonna let you do this because first of all, she said rookie, and second of all, you literally act like The Last Dance. You didn't have people go, "Hey, Michael, good game, bitch," and he goes, "And I took that personally, so I fucking annihilated him, motherfucker. You're not gonna do this, Rocha. I won't let you."
But they weren't taunting him. He fucking interpreted in his head that it was a taunt. That was not. But I get what you're saying. Bradford Smith.
But let alone how many times like the Kobe has. There are so many interviews that come out on Kobe on YouTube right now on Shorts where people will be like, "Yeah, I remember so and so said to me like, Kobe, I'm the Kobe killer," and then he goes,
"All right,
what?"
Right.
So I dropped 40 on him. Like,
right.
You gotta understand, it happens all the time where the shit talk happens, and I don't want a single competitor to ever walk over and be like, "Hey, I hope you have a really good time." If it's over and the game's done, and you want to dap up and be boys and be girls, great. But I don't want Luka going up to Ant-Man and being like, "Hey, man, I really hope you have a great game." No, I want Luka to go, "Bitch, I hope you fucking fumble every single pass that's passed to you, and I'm gonna throw it in your motherfucking face." That's what I need from my athletes, and that's what we want out of the women as well. Because again, we started this off talking about the whole point of feminism is things being equal. If we're serious about women's sports being taken seriously, we need to treat them as athletes and not as princes that need to be protected.
I agree with you. Rookies got to pay the price to play in the league. I 100% agree with you, Winston. I got no issues with that. Regardless of the hard foul from the Seattle, I don't want to see more of that. I certainly don't want to see more of that, but that is probably going to happen, right? It's probably going to happen. So that's the game. And I agree with you. I think people who say they should let her score, they should say it brings more to that is some seriously stupid shit. And that's the easiest way to have your league go under. Because if you think that's going to get more people to watch, you're out of your mind. People intrinsically who watch sports love competition and love to believe in honest competition, even if they think the refs are fixed or the league wants certain teams to win. They still hold out hope that they're going to watch an honest competition in a game. I agree with you. We're on the same page on that. I think it's ridiculous.
You know what I want to see more of is I just found out about the drama going on. I don't remember exactly which players it was, but there's two women that were exes, right? And they were playing against each other the other day. And one of them got fouled pretty hard by her ex. So she picked her up by the waist, be like, "It's okay, baby girl." And then they kept running. And then one of her teammates fouled her ex. And the teammate was going to get in her face, go, not her. Stop. Stop.
Right.
That's the drama I'm trying to see, bro. That shit is hilarious.
I agree. I think the ladies should be allowed to go at each other. Like, play the game, man. And it's disrespectful to the competition, especially these women put so much time, energy, and effort to be the best at what they can be. And look, they have taken shit for 20 years from male ball players. I was watching, what's her name? Zowie, who has the talk show on Cinemax or one of the Showtime.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
She asked Michael Che to name top 5 WNBA players. Michael Che, this was a year or two ago. Michael Che said he couldn't name any of them, but like he'd be happy to get tickets if they gave him tickets to go see the game. So that's the kind of he said. But no, I'm in trouble because nobody watches the WNBA. That was the constant narrative for 20 plus years. So to have the same guys turn around and be like, women need to be appreciative. These WNBA players need to be appreciative. I agree with that point of view that it's like, fuck you, because you used to use it as a goddamn punchline and you didn't give respect to these women, these incredible women who have played for 2 decades plus. And now that the attention is on them, you want them to, as Elle said, bend the knee. I totally understand that point of view. And I think that's unfair. Yeah.
And when you throw in the ultimate frame, so if we've just described the entire picture to you, if you throw in the frame that all of this started, yes, Caitlin was playing super well. And yes, a lot of people watched that championship game last year in 2023 against LSU.
Yes.
But it really got national acclaim because of Angel Reese doing this, and then it became a fully racial thing because people started talking out of their mouth.
That's because where we're at now in a country, as a country.
But remember, so this is why I keep saying when people are like, why do you keep why do you have to keep making Caitlin Clark about race? Because motherfuckers started it. So the problem is you have tuned people into thinking you're only watching Caitlin Clark, not because she's this prolific shooter. Some people, that is why they're doing it. Some people because of the record she broke. But there are some that are watching it because look at this white girl go in a way we've never seen before. So when you have all of that in the ingredients of the recipe that's going on here, you have all of that in the picture and it's surrounded in that fucking frame of the photo, you can understand why people then maybe take a lane that is a little too narrow and there's more to it than what they're seeing, but you've already pressed their button. And you keep pressing their button. And so then it just becomes this ugly cyclical cycle of, yo, racist motherfucker just like this white girl. Why it always got to be about motherfucking race? Well, why the fuck you don't support Angel Reese? Why do I got to talk about that thug? Whoa, shit, why'd you call him a thug? It just doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. And I think the thing that I don't want to have happen is I don't want this positivity and this energy that's going to the WNBA to essentially get tainted. Caitlin Clark and everything that she's doing will get tainted if everyone on all sides of this doesn't chill the fuck out and just enjoy the goddamn games.
You're like Samuel L. Jackson, do the right thing. Yo! Everybody calm down. That's right. No, I mean, I absolutely see your point. But I do think we have to make it clear. And I saw some people chiming in, like my brother Bruce, who I love to pieces. And I hate to be on the other side of an issue on Bruce, but like, saying that Caitlin Clark wasn't one of the greatest female basketball players or a possible GOAT competitor because she didn't win a title, I think is completely unfair because a lot of MVPs have played on stacked teams. Diana Taurasi played on a stacked UConn team. Breanna Stewart on a stacked UConn team. How many of the Tennessee players played on stacked Tennessee teams back when Pat Summitt was the coach? Caitlin Clark dragged an Iowa team that no one had fucking heard of or given any kind of credibility to 2 national championship games. She dragged them. That level of talent is nowhere near the level of talent that UConn and Tennessee and Notre Dame and South Carolina with Don Staley had. So I think you have to respect what Caitlin Clark. Too many people want to denigrate what Caitlin did in the college game, and it's not to be denigrated. It's to be respected and appreciated that she led this team. Paige doesn't have to do it by herself. None of these women have to do it by themselves. Caitlin had to do it by herself. I mean, obviously she had good supporting cast, but she in essence was like LeBron with the Cavs the first time around.
Right, when they got swept by the Spurs. No, I remember. But I will give credence to the fact that there are a number of people that said I cannot consider her the GOAT because she didn't win a chip. And there's something to be said about there's a few people that said it, but I know Breanna Stewart is one of them. And I think that is a completely fair assessment. Dan Marino is considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but he doesn't even sniff the GOAT conversation because he never won. Charles Barkley is one of the greatest to ever hit the hard top. And yet, what does Shaq troll him about all the time?
I bet you wish you had some of these, Chuck, don't you? There's number 1. That one was great. Number 2, me and Kobe weren't fighting quite yet. Number 3, this was the one where I realized, fuck this nigga, I got my ring. And then this one over here was Dwayne Wade. But you ain't got none of these, Chuck. You ain't got a single motherfucking one.
There is a reason why that is people have even said this about Aaron Rodgers. The fact that he has a chip and there's multiple MVPs is super important. But they have said if he cannot finish the deal to get one more chip on the way out, all of this clout that he had for this Aaron Rodgers era, you'll still talk about him and go, yeah, Aaron Rodgers era, cool. But Peyton Manning got 2 rings. Eli Manning has 2 rings. You know what I'm saying? You have a number of people that were maybe not as consistently in the regular season as Aaron Rodgers has been his whole career. However, he only has that one. If he cannot do it again, thank you. I'm
glad that all of you enjoyed that. I've been working on it for a little bit. Anyway, all I'm gonna say about that shit is legitimately rings are the reasons you waited to go. Because guess what? For a while when LeBron was out here doing this, he only had originally the 2 couple of rings. They said they couldn't even come close to Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan went 6 for 6. So
true.
It's just a thing. It's a thing. So she could be in the conversation of like, she was the greatest scorer. She was probably one of the she for basketball comparison. She's Allen Iverson in college to be like, if Allen Iverson in the NBA is her in college, we're dominating, so influential about how things, all of a sudden people are now watching the sport in the way that Allen Iverson, all of a sudden now you got braids, you got tattoos, all the stuff that now NBA players are kind of doing in that whole situation.
Yeah.
I'll get, she right now, her college career when it's all said and done is Allen Iverson. But if she comes to the WNBA and balls, the narrative fully shifts now, and now you can start putting her in these GOAT conversations. But a ring is important to be considered the best to ever do it.
Well, I think a ring is important in the professional ranks, 100%, and I think that's where she'll overcome any denigration about her college career not ending up in a championship, is if she wins it in the WNBA.
It'll definitely help.
I was watching this morning an hour of the Fab Five doc from way back when, because that's my favorite college basketball team ever. And in a way, there are comparisons here, because people forget when the Fab Five, we had black ball players in the college, but it wasn't until the Fab Five came in and put it all together that people were like, oh shit. And then we're like, wait, that's too much blackness to have. I hate the arrogance of freshmen thinking they can hang with these players. And people cheered for not the white team, but the predominantly white team in both Duke and North Carolina against Michigan. And that's what cost them the title in the end, and some bad coaching and the timeout and what have you against North Carolina. But like, I see similarities in here because the WNBA, look, and I'm going to walk real delicately into this minefield. The WNBA is 70% black. Having a white girl walk in and get this undue attention, there are similarities here. And so I'm not saying that there's white women struggle. I mean, I'm not saying any of that, but I'm saying in the arena of basketball, it is a tough situation for a white woman to stand out, as it is for, at the time, back in 1990, I think is when it was, when the Fab Five came through, as this real symbol of negritude at the time, with, you know, the rise of the black culture in the pop culture mainstream that really upset a lot of white people. Yeah. That's why we had the Tipper Gore and put the lyrics on the rap album shit. Like, the black culture scared white people so much at that time.
Almost forgot. I God damn it. And we got to wrap this up because I got to get out. But I was actually going to come in. How did I forget my main argument? Caitlin Clark. I'm so upset. Caitlin Clark is Eminem, bro. Caitlin Clark is Eminem.
100%.
And if you need proof, I'll pull it super fast. He had a very famous song called "White America" from the Eminem show. White America, and I'm just read you some of the lyrics and some of the stuff that's there, because there is a lot of truth including why she got the attention she did. So let's see. I never would have dreamed in a million years I'd see so many motherfucking people who feel like me, share the same views and the same exact beliefs. It's like a fucking army marching in back of me. So many lives I touch, so much anger aimed in no particular direction, just sprays and sprays, and straight through your radio waves it plays and plays till it stays stuck in your head for days and days. Who would have thought, standing in the mirror, bleaching my hair with some peroxide, reaching for a t-shirt to wear, that I would catapult to the forefront of rap like this? How could I predict my words would have an impact like this? So who would have said I would have catapulted to the front of basketball like this, that my impact, that my play would impact like this? I must have struck a chord with somebody up in the office, because Congress keep telling me I ain't causing nothing but problems. Keep going. Jump to the second verse.
Okay.
Look at these eyes, baby blue, baby, just like yourself. If they were brown, Shady lose. Shady sits on the shelf, but Shady's cute. Shady knew. Shady's dimples would help make lady swoon, baby. Ooh, baby, look at my cells. Let's do the math. If I was black, I would have sold half. I ain't have to graduate from Lincoln High School to know that. But I could rap, so fuck school. I'm too cool to go back. Give me the mic. Show me where the fuck the studio's at. When I was underground, nobody gave a fuck I was white. The labels wanted to sign me, almost gave up. I was like, well, fuck it. Until I met Dre, the only one to look past, gave me a chance and a little fire up under his ass. Helped me get back to the top. Every black fan that I got was probably in exchange for every white fan that he's got. Like, damn, we just swapped, sitting back, looking at shit. Wow. I'm like, my skin is starting to work to my benefit now. So again, I am not saying that just because she's white, that's why. Because there was a conversation on The View where Sonny Houston was saying, like, the white privilege and the pretty privilege, which are things, sure, but specifically, let's be very real. One of the things that catapulted Eminem, and he could back it up with the talent, which I can say the same thing about Caitlyn. There is something about if somebody is dominating this field, because you could also talk about Tiger. You have a situation where this is predominantly white, and then this black golfer comes in and fucking balls out of control. It's going to draw something, because like that's not something you normally see. If you then look at a situation of rap where it's predominantly all black, and then this white rapper comes in and he actually can ball and is actually being like co-signed by one of the greatest rapper producers of all time. That's a huge thing. So the same thing with Caitlin Clark. When you have a situation where, yes, there have been plenty of white girls that have been good and have done all sorts of stuff, but she's breaking the records that she's breaking and all that sort of stuff, and she's winning these motherfucking games, people go, whoa, what the fuck's happening? What the fuck is happening right now? So to pretend like it's not a part of it is crazy.
Right.
But it's not the whole conversation.
Right. Because I think Sonny really, I just didn't like what she said, because I think that's really minimizing Caitlyn to something like that. And I like that Whoopi pushed back on Jamel and her in their analysis of it, because she's much more than that. And I think the danger here is that people want to take out their white anger on her, and I don't want that to happen. Be angry at the people, like you said, who cape for her and do these things, fine. Sports columnists, whatever, totally go after them. Got no problem. Leave Caitlyn alone. Unless she's saying some shit, leave Caitlyn alone and let her play. And I think that's where it comes at the end of the day for me, because she could become the next Michael Jordan in the WNBA. She could also become, as you said, Iverson, or honestly, she could flame out. There's a real possibility she plays for 5 years.
I wouldn't blame her.
Yeah,
after
play for 5 years and then realize I don't need to do it anymore. I'm going to go be a spokesperson and make a shit ton of money doing that.
Dude, Andrew Luck did it because of the injuries, and he's like, look, I came for money and I made money, so I don't need this. I'm out. Yeah. So Caitlyn at this point has made as much as she's getting from the Nike shoe deal,
and the Wilson basketball deal,
that the Wilson basketball deal I just forgot just happened, all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't blame her if, like, you know what, I made my impression, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
I wouldn't blame her for that. So the only other thing that I'll just kind of say,
Streamlabs and SuperChats. I got to run through these before you go.
So while you pull that up, I would just say the fastest way to solve this problem, and we don't have this as an issue anymore, guys, please, for the love of God, don't just watch the games just for Caitlyn. Stick around and watch the other ones, because what I'm telling you, people are bawling. Bawling, bro.
The women are incredible.
Solve it.
Yep, I agree. Watching the tournament this year was incredible. Watching the WNBA last year into the finals was fantastic. The Las Vegas Aces, Kelsey Plum is one of my favorite players. She is literally 10 minutes from where I live now. I had no idea till a few months ago. So,
my girl ROCHA down on my wings. Bro, she's averaging 30 a fucking game. She is embarrassing people. It is so fun to watch.
Yeah. If people make fun of Tarasi's still putting up double figures, yo. J-Dog says, calling it now, someone will name a fantasy team Butker in the kitchen. Absolutely. and shout out to the Chargers for trolling Butker when they announced they were playing the Chiefs. They had Butker in the kitchen as a sim, which was hilarious. JMB says, what? No third base diss of Vanilla Ice on Pop Goes the Weasel. Right. I forgot about third base's diss tracks. And they also dissed Hammer until Hammer's people got a hold of them and they stopped dissing Hammer immediately. They've talked about on numerous conversations, because Hammer ain't no joke on the West Coast. Chillin' in the basement. Just want to show love after our little chat debate. I'm still riding with the Outlaw Nation. Thank you, Chillin'. You're the best. Let's hit these Streamlabs real quick. I am Two Fly Cam says the top 5 wide receivers: JJ, Tyrese Hill, Devontae, Jamar Chase, AJ Brown. Sorry, Winston, no overrated lamb chops. All right. That's for $1. You're not going to get a debate for $1 on that one, dude. I'm sorry. Anything you want to say on this real quick, Instant?
I missed it. Say it one more time.
He said top 5 wide receivers: JJ, Tyrese Hill. I'm sure. I think he's trying to say Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, and AJ Brown. He said, sorry, Winston, no overrated CeeDee Lamb chops.
You're gonna say overrated when, like, I wish Dak had thrown it deep a little more. You telling me that my guy is out here being like whoopsies and like and embarrassing people with yak? No, I'd say what you want to say, but you're wrong. There's a reason he was first team all NFL. So okay,
yeah, that's it. That's all you get for $1. Sweet Potato Latte tipped. Thank you, Sweet Potato. Appreciate it. Fredtastic said, here's my support for spilling the tequila. Loving the discussions today, covering all these areas. Loved how Jay Crockett clapped back on Marjorie Taylor. Oh, Jasmine Crockett clapped back on Marjorie Taylor. Facial response was classic. Yeah, we'll definitely weave more of that in. I did not anticipate us to go this long on just 3 or 4 topics. So we will definitely weave more of that in as we go along for sure. And Vincent Zawada says, some of my favorite diss tracks, Nail in the Coffin and Bully. Oh, Nail in the Coffin is good. Absolutely. All right. We should let you go, brother man. I know we got to get out of here. So
yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find that. I do want to play one thing. There was a really great who did I send it to? I think I sent it to Lady Swag. And if so, then I'll just pull it from here. If it's not here, I'll know in about 2 more seconds. Nope, I don't have it. Okay, there's a really great someone made a beach blonde bad bit butch body, and they got fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene dancing to it. Oh my god.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes. Have you seen the 70s one?
The which one?
The 70s version, the soul version. They did
the soul version. That was incredible. That one was incredible, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I almost I had that on TikTok and I almost danced to it and put it up myself. So yeah.
I found it. Okay. Hold on. Let me share. I realized I texted to somebody else.
Oh, okay. You're sharing it to me now. Okay, all right, there we go. We'll add it to the stage. Yeah.
Get it, Marge. Get it, Marge. Get it, Marge. Get it, Marge.
It's amazing what you can do with AI. It's we didn't get to the Diddy talk. Sorry, guys, but we talked about everything else. Sorry about it. Maybe next week we'll get to the Diddy talk, or the week after, because I'm out of town next week, but definitely the week after we'll figure it out. So apologies to everybody who's waiting for the Diddy. Let's just say this: the apology was bullshit. The video is everything you need to know, and it's horrific to look at. So,
and I'll be honest with you, I never I got the same I don't like him vibes that I got from Bill Cosby my entire life, because there was always this weird condescension that was in the tone. So like my spider senses were going off, and now everything that people have slightly said over the years is just coming to light, and it makes sense.
Yep. Even Shaka Khan's daughter posted an Instagram comment going at him for him being disrespectful. How are you disrespectful to Shaka Khan, man? You should not be at that level where you think you can be disrespectful to Shaka Khan. So, all right, well, there you go, everybody. Thanks so much for watching our first episode, soft launch of Spill the Tequila. We will absolutely have better graphics, better intro, all that stuff coming up here when we do our next episode. But thanks for taking a chance on this tonight. We appreciate it madly. Shannon, Winston, thanks so much for taking a chance. Please let people know, brother, where they can find you and everything that's going on.
Well, look here, Skip. You can find me over there on the Swaggy Blood over on YouTube. Now come on now. Come on now, Rocha. Come on now. No, but real talk. You can.
That's just true.
I know why you out here talking like that, Chuck. Ain't nobody asked you to come in here. I'm sure, but my brother Winston out here just trying to tell y'all, go find him on the youtube.com/theswaggyblurred and check out all the things that they had to say about the rap beef and everything else that's going on.
All right.
There you go. All right. At the Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Y'all know. Please subscribe down below if you're taking a chance on the channel for the first time. We'd appreciate it. Hit a like on the video. Share it on your social media. Let people know what's going on here. And if you want to re-listen to any of it, I will be putting it up on the Outlaw Nation Podcast Network later on tonight for y'all to listen to it as well. I'm going to go rest first and have some dinner with the lady, as I'm sure Winston's going to do the same thing. And we will talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of Spill the Tequila, and we'll talk to you. Peace.